Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite video games. Now please remember that this is my personal list. Yours will and may differ. If so, if you wish to leave a comment in the section below about your favorite games, please do. I would love to read about them. So, here we go into my top 10 favorite video games. Number 10, Halo. So Halo was released back on November 15th, 2001 by developer Bungie. So, what is Halo? Halo is a first-person shooter that takes place on the Halo rings, where you play as Master Chief, fighting an alien species called the Covenant. The Covenant believed that the rings you're on to be a holy artifact. You fight the Covenant using various weapons and vehicles while following the story about what the ring really is and why it was actually built. But while looking for that answer, you find out about a new alien species called the Flood. So that's a rough description of what Halo is. Now, Halo I got back when I was really young, and it's still one of my personal favorite games on the original Xbox. I remember playing multiplayer, coming home after school with a bunch of mates, sitting down in front of it, just going to town against each other. Anyway, so that was number 10. Number 9, Age of Empires. Age of Empires was released October 15th, 1997 by the developer Assemble Studios. What is Age of Empires? Age of Empires is a real-time strategy where you take control of various countries and progress through different ages, from stone to iron. The point of the game is to beat the other countries by gathering resources and building your strength, whether that be through force, or economics by building wonders. So, that's roughly what Age of Empires is. Now, Age of Empires is number 9 because I remember going over to a friend's house with a laptop and staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning versing each other and basically fighting. One of my favorite things to do was to set up a custom match where you get one builder, the resources to build your settlement, and I remember that we were playing and one of my mates got attacked by a lion and insta-lost the game. Anyway, so that's number 9. Number 8, Half-Life. Half-Life was released back on November 19th, 1998 by the developer Valve. What is Half-Life? Half-Life is a first-person shooter where you play as a scientist by the name of Gordon Freeman, who, when an experiment went wrong, released aliens throughout the Black Mesa research facility. The goal of the game is for you to escape Black Mesa using your wits and various weapons. Now, Half-Life is number 8 because when I first played it, it was back on one of my really old computers where I could barely run any games. This was one of the few games that ran perfectly, and is still one of my favorite to have a quick little run through to date. So that was number 8. Number 7, Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas was released October 19th, 2010 and developed by Obsidian Entertainment. So, what is Fallout New Vegas? Fallout New Vegas is a post-apocalyptic action roleplay first-person shooter that takes place in the Mojave Desert, where you play as a courier that was tasked with taking a platinum chip to Mr. House. But what you do from that point on is up to you. The premise of the game is that in 2077, the Great War happened about diminishing natural resources, which pitted the USA against China. As a result of the war, nukes were launched, creating the post-apocalyptic landscape you play in. Now, I remember Fallout New Vegas because it was one of the first open-world games I played. As such, no other game at that time had made me feel as much like a cowboy with my own decisions of where I wanted to go, how I wanted to play the game, and what I wanted to do in such a world. Thus, that is why Fallout New Vegas is number 7. Number 6, Ground Control 2. Ground Control 2 was released on June 18th, 2004, and developed by Massive Entertainment. So, what is Ground Control 2? Ground Control 2 is a real-time strategy that takes place in the future. You play as Captain Jacob Angelus, a field commander for the NSA. At the beginning of the game, it becomes very clear that the NSA cannot win the war between itself and the Empire. However, an unknown spacecraft crashes, which contains a device called a singularity drive, which allows ships to travel to other galaxies. The NSA plans to use this ship to evacuate its citizens to another galaxy so the Empire cannot get their hands on them. However, the crashed ship is too small, so you have to start looking for a bigger ship called the CSS Astrid, which is a giant battle cruiser that was built by the aliens that also contains a singularity drive that is large enough to transport the entire NSA. So Ground Control 2 is a real-time strategy that I absolutely love. It's not a very complicated one until you get to the aliens. So it's very nice, very easy, and very friendly to get into. And the story is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to spoil any more, and if any of you want to play it, it is on Steam, I believe. Anyway, so that is why it's number 6. Number 5, Dark Souls. Dark Souls was released September 22nd, 2011, and developed by From Software. So what is Dark Souls? Dark Souls is an action roleplay game where you play as the chosen undead in a fictional kingdom called Lordran, where you have to go and defeat the lords and collect their souls to either rekindle the fire or bring on the Age of Darkness. So most people know of Dark Souls. I think it's probably one of the most famous games due to the fact that it's probably one of the most difficult games. Now, I played it because it was difficult, and it has been one of the most rewarding games to play. When you learn the mechanics and get it down pat and can play fairly well, it is the most rewarding that you will ever have from any video game, ever. And so that's why Dark Souls is number 5. Number 4, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, aka Oris. Oris is a remake of the 2002 Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire games. Oris was released on the 21st of November 2014. So, what is Oris? Oris is a role-playing video game where you play as a 10-year-old trainer that has just headed off on their first Pokemon adventure, where you will battle and capture wild Pokemon, defeat gym leaders, and try and beat the Elite Four, while doing so, trying to complete your Pokedex. So, I've picked Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire due to the fact that I really loved Ruby, Sapphire, but Emerald was my personal favorite. But the problem was when I played the games, it had already passed a point where it would have made a massive impact on me. However, Alpha Sapphire came in at the right time for me, and I absolutely loved it. I'm not even going to lie, I played around with the soaring mechanic for over an hour. By far one of my most favorite Pokemon experience, and a game that I always go back to. So that was number 4. Number 3, Hearts of Iron 4. Hearts of Iron 4 was released on June 6, 2016, and developed by Paradox. So, what is Hearts of Iron 4? Hearts of Iron 4 is a grand strategy game that takes place around World War II, where you take control of a country and prepare for war. You can join factions or do anything you like, start wars or prevent them. The idea of the game is to build up your country by preparing an army, an air force and a navy, and researching tech, as well as building factories to produce consumer goods, military goods, or just allow you to upgrade your lands by providing infrastructure. So, Hearts of Iron 4 is very dear to my heart. It's a very, very long game to play and very hard to learn. Hence why it's referred to as a grand strategy game, not a real-time strategy. While it's very similar, a grand strategy just takes so much longer. Where, for example, with Age of Empires, I would be playing it for about, 30 minutes. One playthrough of Hearts of Iron can take upwards of 5 hours. Now, I remember playing this multiplayer, but I love it because you can do whatever you want. You can play as Germany and turn them into a democracy, or you can become Russia and join with Britain before anything, or be Poland and team up with other countries, or Italy turn democracies, and so on and so forth. It is a very, very fun game, and it is very hard to learn and takes quite a while. But once you do semi-learn it, it can be a very fun experience, but you need to make sure you've got that time set aside to play. And that's why it's number 3. Number 2, Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 was released October 10th, 2007 and was developed by Valve. So, what is Team Fortress 2? Team Fortress 2 is a team-based first-person shooter where you can play as one of 9 characters: the medic, the scout, the soldier, the heavy, the demo man, the spy, the engineer, the pyro, or the sniper. And you play on either the red or blue team. The aim of the game is to work as a team to beat the other team in different game modes, such as attack/defend, capture the flag, control points, king of the hill, payloads. Now they're just the core game modes. There are others for special events and things like that. Now Team Fortress 2 was very dear to me because I have been playing it for so long. Team Fortress 2 became well known for the hats. You would buy crates and stuff like that. And a lot of people that loved the game did that because Team Fortress 2 became free to play, and that actually extended the life. Team Fortress 2 is still being played to today. It doesn't have as large of a community, but it is still being played, and I only stopped playing it a few years ago. And the way they did that was by selling the crates. Now, I absolutely love this game. It is a very fun, very addictive game, especially when you find the character you want to play as. There are so many different weapons and stuff that you can actually unlock to equip to your characters, and basically that's all there is to it. You just work as a team, attack the other teams, do your objective, and have your own specific loadout that you like for your different character that you like playing. Each have their strengths and their weaknesses. Anyway, so TF2, number 2. Number 1, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was released on November 23rd, 1998 in North America and developed by Nintendo. It got a remake for the 3DS, which was released in June of 2011. So, what is Ocarina of Time? Ocarina of Time is a fantasy adventure game where you play as Link, the hero chosen to wield the Triforce of Courage and defeat the evil Ganon. You start your adventure off in Kokiri Forest, summoned by the Great Deku Tree to defeat an evil that was placed there by Ganon. After which, you then travel across Hyrule, defeating many different bosses, traveling through time, gathering sages to help defeat Ganon and seal him away. So, Ocarina of Time was actually one of the first games that I got to play when I was younger. It was also one of the first games I beat with my uncle's help. I absolutely love this game. I love it to today. I still play it all the time. I've played it I don't even know how many times. Now, many people have a similar story as to what their favorite game is, and I would love to hear what yours is in the comment section below. However, I know that Ocarina of Time, from what I've seen, isn't necessarily the best Zelda. Take Breath of the Wild. A lot of people really, really like that. However, Ocarina of Time is always going to be my favorite and is always going to sit on a little mantle above everything, just due to the fact that it was the first game I played, the first game I beat, and it will always hold that little place in my heart. And so that's why it's number 1.